All right. Good morning. Good morning. We get started. Talking eye drops, yeah. Speaking of we're talking eye drops here. Speaking of eye drops, I got these new eye drops where they actually take your blood and they spin it, and then they make these drops so your body doesn't reject it, because I had a lot of trouble with allergies to whatever was in the drop. Yeah. And I think it's made a huge difference. So got that at Wolf Clinic. My eye doctor suggested that. So anyway, well, we have been using my little book, If Life is a Game, These Are the Rules. Anybody, here, we'll just review real quick since we have Sarah today. So rule number 1 is you will receive a body. So you may love it or hate it, but it will be yours for the duration of your life here on Earth. So it goes on to say that it's probably one of the most important relationships of it is the most important relationship of your life. So you may as well learn to work with your body. And then rule number 2 is you will be presented with lessons. So life is just a series of lessons. And rule number 3 is there are no mistakes, only lessons. So, we may think we failed, but actually those are the biggest learning experiences typically. Rule number 4 is lessons will be repeated until learned. Which, remember Groundhog's Day? Similar to that. And now, so we're on rule number 5, which is learning does not end. There is no part of life that does not contain lessons. If you're alive, there are lessons to be learned. Does it ever seem just when you have mastered one lesson, another challenge presents itself almost immediately? Just when you get what it means to possess self-esteem, you're faced with a lesson in humility. As soon as you get what it means to be a good parent, your children leave home and you need to learn the lesson of letting go. You figure out one day the importance of having time to yourself, and the next day you are called to support someone else. Striving to get all the details of life under control is impossible because life will present new lessons daily. So the challenge of rule 5 is to embrace your role as a perpetual student of life. This means giving in to the idea that you actually don't know everything that you need to, and you never will. It also means that you need to convince your ego that being a student does not make you inferior. In fact, being a student opens up worlds of possibilities that are invisible to those who are unwilling to accept this role, which I think is pretty profound. So I know if you can look at yourself as a perpetual student, it seems like you enjoy life a lot more because you have this, you get into a situation and you're like, oh, okay, this is fun. I'm going to learn from this. Makes it way different. We've talked about how if you notice kids and how everything is fun and new to them. And I think learning is, you can look at it like that because they have never seen things before. And so they're so excited. And if we can just take that approach when we're given these lessons, it makes it more fun. So close your eyes and just turn inward. Notice your breath. And see if you can add a pause at the end of your inhalation. And maybe add a little pause at the end of your exhalation. See if you can even extend your inhale and your exhale even a little bit longer, and maybe the pause a little bit longer. And then just allow your breath to go back to normal. Don't try to change it in any way. And please bring hands to heart center. We always try to look at life as a perpetual school learning situation. Gives us much better ability to live in the present and to really notice the beauty and the grace that's always around us, within ourselves, within others. And please lower your hands, open your eyes. And we're going to start with we're going to do some ab work today. But I just want to get your shoulders warmed up a little bit. So think long side body. Engage your rib cage back, and then bring your arms back, palms facing back, and then just bend them and hold your forearms or your elbows. You feel like your heart's kind of coming forward, and then you can just kind of move side to side if that works for you a little bit. Nice long spine, connected core. Kind of opens your shoulders up. And then pause. Bring your hands behind you, interlace them. And then just bring your knuckles to the right side of your body. And then just bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. Nice long spine. Good. Come on back up. Stretch the arms back again. And switch. Right ear shoulder towards right shoulder. That feels good. You don't have to add that. It just feels kind of nice for me today. And stretch the arms back and unwind, and go ahead and have a block handy, but transition to your back. Uh-oh, already came in. Sorry, Mary. We'll get her out of here. I'll be right back, everybody. We have allergies to cats, so I'm sorry, baby, you can't come in. Yes, how'd you do that? How'd you go? Oh. I'll give you a little break on your back. Because we're going to do what we call abdominal bracing to start. So as you lay on your back, I want you to notice that you have a curve in the low back. Feel that. And then see if you can engage your rib cage. So it's like you're knitting your ribs together, pulling down. You still have the curve, but you feel like you're lengthening your spine. Now try and maintain that. Lift your feet up so that your shins are parallel to the floor. Flex the feet and bring your hands on your thighs. And then just very gently push away and up with your hands and keep that connection. It's like your low belly is drawing up. You have the curve, but you're lengthening your spine. And breathe. Don't do it so much that you can't breathe. You'll feel some work happening, hopefully. And hold it for 3 more breaths. Good, and then release. Hug your knees into your chest. And just notice that release. And then bringing the feet flat again. Set up your spine just like you did before. Just feel like your sit bones are grounded. Your pelvis is really intact. Lengthen the spine. Lift the shins. Flex the feet. Hands on the thighs again. Press away and up. Good. Now bring both hands to the right thigh and extend the left leg. Keep everything the same. At an angle. Good. And then bend the knee. Switch the hands to the left thigh. Extend the right leg. You should be able to keep breathing through all this. And then bend the right thigh. Hands right on the thighs. Push away and up for a moment. And then hug them in. Good. If you want to, you can roll up to seated. You can roll to the right side or come on up to seated. Grab your block. Bring it between your knees. Now, the goal of this is to have your feet stay flat. You get warmed up already?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, good. So just bring your hands behind you and the goal is to keep your feet grounded. So feel that, squeeze the block and bring your hands behind your thighs and lean back. Keep a nice long spine. You're not rounding the low back. You're keeping nice long spine. Squeeze the block and bring your hands forward. I want you to feel it in your core. So knitting the ribs back, lengthening. You can lift and lower your hands a little bit. Squeeze the block so you don't feel it in your hip flexors as much. Good, and release. Rest, seated and sitting up for a moment. Where do you feel it? Your low back? Okay, so think sits bones grounded, keep the curve, rib cage back, and then lean back. Squeeze the block. And if you need to, just hang on here. If you want to do something else, bring your arms up. And this time you can just punch. And maybe even sway side to side a little bit. Squeeze the block. Nice long spine. Hopefully you're feeling it right in here, holding that. And release. We're going to do it one more time. Can you feel your feet grounded? Squeeze the block. You can start like this. Long spine. Release. Maybe alternate hands this time. Good, and release. Remove the block. Hands behind your thighs. Lean back. Now the traditional pose, lift your shins, lift your legs. Remember that feeling of transitioning. So I feel my low belly drawing up. I feel the sits bones back. Boat pose. You don't have to straighten your legs. You can keep them bent if that's better. Bring both hands to the right. Bring both hands to the left. Come back to center. And sit. Cross legs. And go ahead and transition to your bellies. Okay, so when you're working core, we always think of abs, but it's actually like a girdle all the way around. So let's work on back a little bit. So come down to your belly, your arms by your hips. I like to start with the forehead down, press the feet down, think hip creases stay back. So I'm not going to scoop the tailbone down. I'm just going to keep that curve there. But I am going to draw the rib cage back. So think long side body, rib cage draws back, shoulders draw back, and then lift the head and the shoulders up, lift the arms up. Maybe lift the feet up if you can keep all that. Feel like you're lengthening your spine still. Salabhasana. Good, and release down. You can bring your hands on your forehead if you like. And breathe. That one's a little harder to breathe through. And bend your knees and just let your feet sway side to side a little bit. And we're going to do another variation of that. So bring the legs long, press the tops of the feet down. Think hip crease stays back, rib cage back. Bring your arms like to cactus and come up on fingertips. Start with your forehead down. So you think long back of neck, rib cage back, lift head, lift shoulders, long spine, maybe lift the hands off the floor. Lift the feet if you'd like. Rib cage back, long spine, long back of neck. And bring the hands under the forehead. Relax down. Couple breaths. Your body is such an excellent teacher. When you feel something that you don't think you should feel, you listen. We learn how to challenge ourselves, the physical body. So much to learn from being in this vessel of your body. Stretch your arms out long in front of you now. Come up on fingertips there. Forehead down. Press the feet down. Keep the curve. Draw the rib cage back and lift head, chest, and maybe arms and feet. Woohoo, you're Superwoman, flying through the air. Rib cage back, low belly up. Sits bones stay back. Shoulders back. And release. Push all the way back to child's pose. Full breath. And then make your way up to all fours. And just do a few cow cats just to kind of, we've been tightening the muscles to see if you can lengthen them out a little bit by working through some cows and cats. And you can even stretch through the sides a little bit. Feel it. And then pause and turn your hands out a little bit. So your fingertips are out to the side. Now make sure your wrists are at least under your shoulders, if not wider. Claw the floor and just move side to side a little bit. Think, broaden the clavicles apart. You'll feel really stable. And then if that feels good and you want to go deeper, only if you want to, you can turn the fingertips back towards you. Again, wrists under shoulders, if not broader. Broaden the clavicles and then maybe move forward and back. This is really subtle, just a wrist stretch. Good, and then pause, turn the hands back forward, bring your hands forward, one hand width, curl the toes, lift the knees, sits bones back and up, downward facing dog. Let's see if you can find your core in your down dog. That's like you're drawing the rib cage back, you're keeping the sits bones back, the armpits are lifted, you're broadening the clavicles, long back of neck, downward facing doggy. And then come on down to your knees. Grab your blocks and bring them under your hands. You're just gonna warm up. Bring them a little bit wider than your shoulders. And then extend your right leg straight back. I want you to keep the hips square. Notice your core. So a lot of times what people do here is they want to round their low back. I want you to keep the curve, but keep your rib cage knitted. And maybe little pulses with the foot. If you flex it and point it, it feels different. Try not to get your right hip higher than your left. Good. And then bend the knee, bring the right knee towards the right elbow, and then step it to the outside of the block. Yeah. Make sure your kneecap and your toes point the same direction. Hips stay square. If you want to, think of that long spine. Maybe you can lower to your blocks or even to the floor if that feels good for a humble pose. I like to just really just keep on the blocks, broaden the knee. Feel the heel, big toe mound, little toe mound. And then come on back up. Your hands. Bring that knee around. And let's work on the other side. So left leg extends. Think rib cage is knit. Broadening the clavicle. Really stable in the shoulder girdle. Make sure your right knee is under your right hip. Heel of the left leg and sits bone of the left leg in the same line. Lengthening of the spine, long back of neck, maybe pulses. Always helps me when I am holding something to pulse a little bit, but do what feels good to you. Good. Good. And then bring left elbow or left knee towards left elbow and step it through. You want your knee to be above your ankle, not in front of it. And then just see where you want to go here. If you have everything aligned, still have the connection in your spine, and maybe lower down to humble pose. Humbling. Humble pose is humbling. All parts of the foot working. I always think if I have my foot really grounded and my toes and my kneecap point the same direction, then maybe I can broaden the knee off to the left side. Have it feel good. Good. And then come on back up. Your hands, bring the knee back. Make sure your blocks are a little bit in front of your shoulders now, and come up to downward facing dog on the block briefly. And then you're just gonna step your feet up to a forward fold. And I want you to bring your blocks in front of you and bring them to the highest height. And really feel you might have to bend your knees a little bit. Feel your sits bones back. Engage the core and lengthen out. Long back of neck. And then you can always re-straighten the legs. So this is a really active forward fold. This is where I want you to stay, Mary, and maybe even hands to knees, okay? And just feel that, feel the connection in the core that you have here in this variation of Uttanasana forward fold. Hold it for 3 more breaths. Feel the arches lifting. Really active. Good. Now let go and just let yourself fold forward, and you can even grab the elbows and feel kind of a release in the core, but not in the legs. Kind of a hanging there, lengthening. And there you can just keep extending or come on up if you want to. We're going to stay for a few more breaths. And then bend your knees. Bring your hands on your knees. Slowly come up to standing. You were bent over for a long time, so you got to let yourself adjust. And I'm going to have you guys turn sideways on your mat and take a wide stance, but not real wide. And then just think, I'm going to engage my core here. Maybe I need to bend my knees to really feel it. And lengthen, and then bring your arms up. And maybe little circles. See if you can initiate this from your core. And if you're doing this, Laura, especially you, think core is what initiates this. Maybe start to make the circles a little bigger. Maybe even bigger. Initiate it from the core. Nice long spine. Good. And then pause. Bring the arms behind you. And just like you did before, see if you can keep that engagement. Bend the elbows. Grab forearms or elbows. And then fold forward. Reach down, touch the floor or your blocks, Mary, if you're going to do this. You're not as wide as you normally are. Just see if this works for you. Reach underneath and grab your left shin with your right hand, and then reach across and grab your opposite shin with your other hand. So your arms are crossed. Good. Now turn your left foot out and kind of move towards that foot and maybe do a little twist. Yeah. So look underneath your top arm. This is weird, I know. And then come back to center, turn both feet. You're gonna have to switch the cross. So the arm that's on top, that's the way you're moving towards, and twist and look underneath. Oh, think core. Come on back to center. Release your hands down. And bend the knees, come on up all the way to standing. Hook your thumbs, stretch up, draw the pelvic floor up as you stretch up. Really tall. What's that? The pelvic floor. Draw it up. Kind of like Kegels. But hold it. Hold it. And release. Good. Step your feet together. Come to the front of your mat. Really important. Only better than Kegels. You can hold it. Grab your blocks and bring them by your feet. And so your blocks are wider than your feet. We're just going to play with them. I'm going to bring them to a medium height for me. You do high height, maybe. So inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Step your left foot back to a deep lunge. And I want you to really feel like you're utilizing your core. So your right hip crease stays back, your hips stay square. Feel that back leg engage. When you have your hands on the block, see if you can lengthen your spine even more. Keep that back foot and leg super engaged. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to inhale, stretch up, crescent. Exhale, touch down. Keep that really long spine. Inhale, stretch up, crescent. Hips stay square. Down. 3 more times. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Crescent. Exhale, touch down. Keep going. Exhale down. Last time, inhale, crescent, and hold there. Exhale, hands to heart center. You still have the core. That's what I want to think. Rib cage back, sits bones back, and then 5 times you're going to bend the back knee, almost a touch, and then lift. Exhale, lower. Hips stay square, lift. 3. Core is where it's at. 4. 5. And touch down. Step back, down dog on the block. Feel that work in the right leg. And then extend the left leg and step it through for the other side. So just take the time now to see, okay, is my left heel and hip in a line? Is my right heel and hip in a line? I have my hips square. I'm really using my core. And then start, inhale, crescent, back leg and foot really active. 2. 3. 'Really strong core, lengthen. Last time, lift and hold. Feel that back leg as your anchor. I like to bring hands to heart center. Just check yourself. Lower the back knee and lift back up. Really strong. 2. You know, if you need to quit, you can. 4. 5. And touch down. Step back, down dog. Just set your blocks off to the side so that you can come to regular down dog. And then vinyasa. If you need a child's pose, take it. If not, come forward to plank. Broadening the clavicles, keeping the core long, lower down. Inhale, come to cobra. Exhale down. Downward facing dog. Lower to your knees. Bring your hands on the blocks again. Your elbow doing okay? Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully this might help. So we're going to come to plank on the blocks. So stretch your legs out and feel plank. Now I want you to notice that if you broaden the clavicles, if you really get the rib cage on the back, if you lengthen the back of your neck, I always feel my feet way more active. If you can hold. So draw a little belly up, sit bones stay back. I feel my feet hugging towards each other and extending long. Rib cage is back, long back of neck. Good, lower the knees. Oh, you guys could stay there forever and then sit back on your heels. If you need to sit on a block, you can. Take a breath because we're going to go back there. Happy birthday, Laura. And then come back forward. Plank. If you can get that really connected plank again. And then you're going to keep the plank, but lift your right knee towards your chest. And you're going to do that 10 times. 2, long spine, 3, 4. You need to touch down in between. 10, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lower the knees. This is more like Pilates today than yoga, but we hadn't done abs for a while, so I thought it would be good. Aren't you glad you came today, Sarah? Okay, other side, come up to plank. Feel yourself integrating the core. All sides, broaden the clavicles. And then left knee in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know when you're done. Go ahead and come on down. Take a child's pose for a moment. Notice when you breathe into your core region, how it expands in all directions, not just the belly, but into the back. Take a moment to feel that. And then make your way to down dog on the block. And then step your feet up between the blocks, forward fold. And turn the blocks to the higher height. I don't know, we'll just play with that. And then come on up to standing. Stretch your arms up. Hands to heart center. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, touch the blocks. And then step your right foot back just far enough that you can ground the heel down and you can keep your left leg straight. Now ask yourself, okay, are my hips square? You might have to turn your right toes out just slightly. I want you to feel that really extended feeling in your core again. So the hips stay square, rib cage is back, long back of neck. And then if your name isn't Mary, you can fold deeper if you want to. Good, and then push on the blocks and come up to standing. You'll know right away if you're engaged through the legs. And then this is your option, either palms back, grab the forearms or elbows, or if you want to do reverse namaste, you can do that. But think of, once you have whichever version, think core is the key. And then you can fold forward again. Long spine, long back of neck. This is called Parsvottanasana, or pyramid pose. Notice all the little adjustments your legs and feet make. Release the hands to the blocks. Come up to pranam and step forward. Let's just go right to the other side. So left foot back. Take your time. If your heel doesn't ground down, you step back too far. So you want to really be able to feel grounded through both feet, all parts of the feet. Hips are square, sit bones back, curve, rib cage back, long back of neck. And then once you have that, then you can fold deeper. Right hip crease stays back. Good, and then come on up to standing. Take your time. You'll know if everything's lined up, if you feel stable. I'm a little wobbly. What am I doing? I'm not using my core. Good. And then either elbows or reverse namaste, you'll know. One side always feels different. Think long spine and then fold forward. Big toe mound grounded. Both sides. See if you can use your core a little more. All sides of it. Unwind, touch the blocks, turn them lower and step back to a down dog. And go ahead and lower your knees and take child's pose. And then come on up to seated on your heels, or I'm going to put a block there for me because we're going to sit here for a while. So wherever you're comfortable. That feels good, right? And we're going to bring our arms out to the side again. Think long core. really engaged core, all sides. And then you're just gonna reach your right hand in and tap your chest a little bit and then switch. This tapping I learned about years ago. It actually is a calming thing. They had like a sequence that you do. But the chest was the last part of the sequence, but I think it's really, I don't know, calming, hopefully. I'm trying to remember. I think it was forehead, cheeks, here, and then chest. Good. And then hook the thumbs again. Let's try this again. Think pelvic floor draws up and lengthen. Everything draws up. And release. Good. And come on off of your block and come to your back. And just start by hugging your knees in. Turn that. And then bring your feet down. A nice wide stance with the feet. Arms to cactus or T, and then just bring both knees to the right side. So it's like windshield wiper, yeah. So the feet are wide apart, there you go. Both knees down if possible. They never come completely down for me. It's just you don't want to have to actively hold them. You keep the curve in your low back. This is just to kind of release a few things that we've done. And then bring them up and over to the other side. Couple breaths there. Excuse me. And then bring them up. Bring your feet right under your knees. Hands by your hips. I want you to find that really engaged core again. So you can feel your feet active and then feel the sits bones kind of moving back. So you have that curve. And then add the length, just like you did when you did the abdominal bracing. So rib knit towards each other and move back and spine lengthen. And then keep that. And we're just going to lift and lower to Setu Bandha a few times. So push into your feet, lift, see if you can keep all that. And lower. Move with your breath. Ribs back. Heart lifts though. Shoulders back. Just keep going with your breath. If you can feel your low belly drawing up, but keeping the sits bones back, you'll feel the core working more. If that makes any sense at all. Lengthen the back of your neck. Keep that nice and long. Every time you touch down, check. Do I still have it? Do two more if you can. And then when you lift on this last one, hold. And interlace your hands if you want. Feel the core really strong everywhere. And then lift your heart a little higher. And then lower down. Hug your knees in again. And roll side to side, just massage. I like to slowly let my knees come away from me and keep rolling so you massage your booty. You can hold on to your knees and just let your feet dangle. And then release, bring the feet down, soles of the feet together, knees open wide. And slowly closing the knees. Just hug your right knee in and extend your left leg long. Bring the knee a little wider towards your armpit for a moment. And then grab the outside of the knee with your left hand. Bring your right arm out to the side. Keep a curve in the low back and roll to your left hip. Your right shoulder stays down. You can hook your toes if that helps. Little twist. Yeah. I like to hook my toes behind my knee, and it helps kind of so it's not just hanging there. Yeah. And unless you're able to twist all the way over. Feels better to me. There's that spot again, right, Connie? Right. Other side, other bun. Come back to center. We'll switch. So hug the left knee in, straighten the right leg. I like to bring it towards the armpit. Keep the curve in the low back. Right hand to the outside of the knee, left arm out. Hook the toes if you'd like and twist, or bring it on top of the thigh, or let it come all the way over. Your choice. And then coming back to center. Go ahead and stretch out for Shavasana. Turn the light all the way off. You'll find a really comfortable place for your core. If you need to cover up with your blanket, do. Remind your jaw to soften. Maybe allow the teeth to part slightly. Allow the whole rib cage and all those muscles supporting it to soften. Allow the low belly to soften. The glutes to soften. Allow the soles of your feet to relax and soften. As you continue to relax, I just wanted to share from this book by Gerald Jampolsky, MD. You've probably heard of it. It's called Love is Letting Go of Fear. I believe that all the lessons I've been given in my life kind of are summarized by this paragraph. Let us consistently choose the single goal of peace rather than multiple goals that lead to conflict. Let us continue to practice forgiveness and to see each other and ourselves as blameless. Let us look lovingly upon the present, for it holds only knowledge that is forever true. Let us continue to be involved in a process of personal transformation in which we are only concerned about giving and not about getting. Let us recognize that we are united as one self and illuminate the world with the light of love that shines through us. Let us awaken to the knowledge that the essence of our being is love, and, and as such, we are the light of the world. Beginning to notice your breath. Again, feel how it expands in all directions in your chest, abdomen, back. Sides. Begin to move in small waves. When you're ready, please draw the knees in, roll to the side. Take your time. Please push on up to seated. Bring hands to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing working that core. Namaste. Thank you for being here, you guys. Have a fabulous, beautiful, gorgeous day. Happy birthday again, Laura.
Thanks. Hey, Lisa, who doesn't need to start their birthday with a good core workout?
There you go.
Thanks, Lisa.
I'm glad you feel that way. Okay.
Right.
Bye
Yeah,
now.
thanks, Lisa.
You're
Susan's
welcome.
birthday's tomorrow, you know.
I know. What do we're gonna have to think of something really good for
Oh, boy.
Friday to celebrate
know.
her.
And
Okay.
Will Jeanette be there? Because her birthday's tomorrow.
Yeah,
You guys have the same birthday? I don't know. I was just thinking I haven't seen her for a while. I'm gonna contact her and